I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
I know I brought it on myself. I owe no blame to no one else. And now I realize I can't get over you. And though I've tried to do my best, I just can't find happiness. And it's all because I can't get over you.
Hey baby, why, oh why, thinking of you makes me cry. No matter how I try, I'm gonna love you by and by and by, baby.
Boo boo. Do 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 do.
Whoa ha ha. Whoa. Whoa ha ha. Whoa. Whoa ho ha. Whoa ha. Whoa ha. Whoa ha. Whoa ha.
Whoa ha ha. Whoa ha ha. Whoa ha ha. Whoa ha. Whoa ha. Whoa ha ha. Whoa ha ha. Oh, whoa ha, whoa ha, whoa ha ha, whoa ha ha, whoa ha, whoa ha, whoa ha, whoa.
Αλφα θήτα, Ιτανή, αλφα κοίτα. Με να βάζω φωτιά στην Αθήνα με καυτά κουπλέ. Απλή η μέθοδος μα θέλει ταλέντο και έμπνευση. Αλλιώς αργά ή γρήγορα θα επέλθει η κατέρευση. Με εξαίρεση και επιβεβαιώνω τον κανόνα.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Blackest Show About Nothing. It's Jade and XD. You know, rest in peace to the great one, Frankie Beverly.
Oh my gosh.
Just vocal warmth.
Truly, you know, I call him the Black American Barris Hammond.
Yeah.
You know, and Barris Hammond is the Jamaican Frankie Beverly.
Yes. That's very true. But yes, he passed away. I know some of you were looking for us to commentate last week, but we recorded beforehand. But it was very sad.
A big cultural loss. You know, as I was explaining it to Noah, of course I had to play before I let you go, just to give her context. And she's like, oh, I say, yeah. So, you know, he's well respected by many artists, which is why Beyonce covered Frankie Beverly, Joe covered Frankie Beverly and Maze, so many. So what a loss, what a giant to our cultural community. But, you know, we'll never stop playing Frankie Beverly and Maze at the cookouts. Like, it's always going to happen at the functions, at the gatherings, at the shindigs.
I'm glad you brought that up. We have to say the function, right? Because I feel like the cookout has been bastardized, right?
I agree.
And the function is very more. Ooh, I know.
My brain is broken since COVID. I realized that.
It's more Negro lateral, if you will.
Yes, right? yes, like, yes.
It's on the Negro plane.
It's actually more. It's more ethnic than the cookout. It actually
is because white folks know about a cookout because you know, beware of snow bunnies. People didn't take heed. So now the function is a very y'all know what a function.
I'm getting ready for the function at the junction. And baby, you better come on now, because everybody's gonna...
Black people know what a function is, a gathering, a shindig. You know, if you want to take it over to the islands, a lime, you know, which is different than a fete. Different than a bashment and a bacchanal. You know what I'm saying? But there are so many iterations of us gathering as a community. Key word. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's why I had to make sure that I added all the synonyms, you know, just so you know. But yeah, we'll never stop playing Frankie Beverly and Maze at the functions.
No. No. But time for news with Jade.
Yes, we're on day 347 of the ongoing genocide in Gaza. That's almost a full year. Another massacre happened in the Al-Baraji refugee camp, which is heavily populated and very small, very densely populated in the middle of the Gaza Strip. It was bombed while people were sleeping in another, you know, quote unquote supposed safe zone, which ended up burying 80 people under the rubble. Yeah, I shared on Getting Grown, and I think it's important to note here as well. You know, we talk often about Bisan, who's been such a staple in us being able to get accurate information on the ground. And she talked about people being buried under the rubble, including a young girl from this particular massacre who believed that she was under the rubble for 4 days, but she was under the rubble for 12 hours. And she said,
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
You know, think about it. These people have buildings falling on them. So, you know, you've got concrete and stone and brick, etc., falling on people, and many of them have been buried under that rubble, oftentimes alive, because people cannot hear them. And so, you know, we just want to keep in mind that these blatant, flagrant massacres that are happening in front of our faces, despite what international law says or anything else, are heartbreaking in more ways than one. Not just because of the lives lost, but the ways in which these lives are being lost is just... There's really no more words to express the disgust and the heartache for what they're going through. The settlers, quote unquote, are terrorizing the people as well. So, you know, they've been, again, I remember I told you they've been poisoning their cattle. They've been setting up shop at their cribs, like just taking over the crib.
Did you hear the news about those pagers that went off?
Oh, honey. Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. You're fine. We're about to talk about it.
Okay.
But these settlers who are just, I mean, the true definition of the word terrorist, and also backed by the IOF, who, you know, supports them in all of their animalistic efforts to just take over people's shit. They stormed an elementary school in Jericho with batons and IOF protection and assaulted children and staff. They are also, the IOF themselves are targeting African refugees in Israel, offering residency status in exchange for them joining the IOF. So, and remember, there are people all around the world who are flying over to join the IO or support the IOF, including American soldiers, French soldiers, etc. So, this is this is just, it's so blatant, and it's just maddening that we're watching this happen in front of our faces on an hourly basis at this point. You can't even say daily basis, but on an hourly, minutely basis, where they are really trying to get them out of here. And then you have the pager explosions that you just talked about. So did you read the background on it?
I was watching the news this morning.
Okay.
And so essentially, Israel caught wind that Hezbollah was going to use pagers in lieu of cell phones and other types of communication because those can be tapped and pagers can't. So Israeli intelligence picked that information up, went to the supply chain and installed explosives in these pagers. And so yesterday, around 3:30 p.m., all of those pagers, it was like thousands, went off at the same time, killing several people, injuring thousands.
3,000.
Yeah, because there's people in like a grocery store. This video I saw, people in like just town squares, and all of a sudden just poof. It was almost like very much like in Die Hard with the Vengeance, where there is just like one call, one button, and it was just all this shit chaos happens. And I was like, that's some weird. Like now this is. As the gays say, now y'all are dragging it. Now you know what I mean.
Because listen, because this was in Lebanon. This was in Lebanon where this happened. Although we know that there's been attacks. Oh yeah, because of the 1948 Nakba. For those who want to say that October 7th was the catalyst,
no.
There's Palestinians all in the Middle East, Lebanon, Yemen, all over the place, and so. These pagers, so like you said, they went off, alerted folk, and when everybody went to go check their pagers, they literally exploded. They killed a 10-year-old girl. Like you said, they injured more than 3,000 people, killed a few more. And so I was reading on how Motorola is integrated into all of this. So Motorola developed a special encrypted system tailor-made for the Israeli military, unconnected to any civilian network. It was the product of a joint project between Motorola Israel and the Israeli army named Mountain Rose. The aim was to prevent counter-surveillance by resistance forces in the region. Motorola also set up the wide area surveillance system known as Moto Eagle for the Israeli Ministry of Defense. This system is essential to the settlement network and apartheid wall infrastructure. Motorola also supplies the Israeli police with the Astro 25 communication system through which the officers interact with each other. Motorola has also provided key components for Israeli arms companies like Rafael and Elbit Systems subsidiary IMI Systems. The company has also gone as far as sponsoring conferences held by the Israeli Ministries of Intelligence and Defense. Yeah. So, and then, we learned recently there was a shooting here in New York, for those who did not see, in which they chased this man who evaded fare, right? He jumped the turnstile. $2.90 is what the fare is now one way. So they followed him. They chased him. He ran onto the train because the train came into the station. They then claimed he was wielding a knife. He was not wielding a knife. I'll get to that in a second. Claimed he was wielding a knife.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
And let shots loose on the train, killed him, grazed a civilian man's head, shot a lady in the leg, and shot another officer in the stomach. Now, the man was found to have a knife in his pocket after he had already been shot. That's what witnesses said. And so they used him having a knife to spin the narrative that he was wielding a knife. Now, I want you all to also keep in mind that the NYPD has an office in Tel Aviv. Yeah. Look it up. NYPD has an office in Tel Aviv, and Atlanta PD has an officer exchange program with the IDF. And you know, Atlanta's where they're building the first cop city. And we all know Eric Adams is a fucking cop with his criminal ass. Can't wait to see his ass be taken the fuck down. But that doesn't mean that the system itself is going to be taken down, because the NYPD been corrupt long before he came around. But they do have an office in Tel Aviv. So all of the methods, all of the things we hear about what's happening to the Palestinians needs to be paid attention to, because literally these are the same tactics that they are sharing, that they are recycling with each other and training one another on in order to also continue oppression here for us as well, because they view us in the same ways. And so these are essential reasons on why we have to pay attention to what's going on, because it absolutely directly affects us, outside of the fact that it's just fucking heinous that this is happening to human beings anywhere, and that nobody can do shit about it. And that nobody who can do shit about it is doing shit about it. Heinous, disgusting, deplorable. We're currently on day 523 of the ongoing genocide in Sudan. There's been heavy SAF strikes in the city of Nyala, with one civilian being injured, and RSF shelling continues in residential neighborhoods in El Fashir, which is destroying folks' homes. The RSF has killed more than 40 people in Jazeera State over the last month. Some bodies have reportedly yet to be buried, with the RSF preventing residents from returning to the village to bury their loved ones. Khartoum emergency rooms have warned of a health crisis in the area, recording 62 cases of malaria per day. 3 civilians were killed and others injured in a market in Omdurman after the SAF soldier detonated a grenade during an altercation. And let us not forget that because of displacement, because of ongoing attacks between two military-like forces, the civilians are the ones who are being affected by this, also being targeted, being looted, being raided, being sexually assaulted, completely displaced, have been wandering the desert. Now we got these 62 cases of malaria per day, and that is literally just in Khartoum. All their marketplaces have been destroyed. Think of everybody listening, think about the popular marketplaces in your area being completely demolished. They found shellings. I want to say it was, they counted over like 30,000 shells, like from the RSF, and that was just in one sitting. Like, they are, like, you want to talk about letting choppers spray, and who is in the middle of this? Families, children, people who don't have nothing to do with this are being affected, and they're being starved, and they're being and they have no water, no clean water, and now you got malaria running around, and in Palestine you got polio. Like, it's too much for anyone to bear. We already know the ways in which we have affected Haiti and what they're going through, with nasty white women spreading ridiculous rhetoric here. Like, you know, there's just all over the world. We got the iPhone 16 dropping. Don't get that. Do not get it. Do not go get the iPhone 16. Don't get that nasty, ugly, fucking Roblox looking Tesla truck. Like, don't get these things that are literally killing children. Literally killing children. There are ways that we can that we can be intentional about how we live, where we give a fuck about what's happening to the next person. And it doesn't take that much. We may not be able to do much with the actual powers that be, but there are things we can do on the ground. And you can forego your little convenience or your brand new phone. Go get yourself a refurbished something or other. You can go get an iPhone 15 refurbished. But be more intentional with the way we all, like myself included, I'm talking to myself too. We have to be intentional about the ways that we're moving in this world, because every move that we make affects somebody else, and sometimes in catastrophic and dire ways. So those are our international updates this week. We have to also sending love is not enough, but the family of Javion McGee, which was a 21-year-old truck driver from Chicago who was found in Henderson, North Carolina, leaning against a tree with a rope around his neck that the police are claiming is not a lynching, just off the simple fact that he was not hanging. This is not the first instance of this happening in the last couple of months. There's been several cases in Georgia, and there's so many others that we don't hear about. And they refuse to do any investigation because they're probably the foundation of all of this. We know where the police come from in this country, how that was started. And so a 21-year-old, he had just gotten his CDL license, I think this summer. So we have to send love to his family and his loved ones, and this is out of hand. This is madness. It's disgusting.
Yeah, really, really bad.
Yeah.
Let's take an early break so we can reset.
Yeah.
Let's pay some bills first.
Oh yeah.
So thank you for listening each and every week. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. To let you all know, we've started adding chapters to new episodes. Starting last week, we understand that the internet and stuff can be a little overwhelming, so we decided to allow you to choose your own adventure with Jade and XD.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, because I know some of you were wondering about that on YouTube as well, and so we have provided on our Patreon and our videos timestamps as well, so you can choose your own adventure that way. Same with our content on 90 Day Fiancé. You'll be able to click on each couple and figure it out, and you know, because sometimes you don't want to listen to hear about James and Tata. You only want to talk about Sean and Joanne, or hear about Sean and Joanne.
Perhaps.
So, you know, we're all about options, and you know,
very pro-choice here at Jade and XD. Exactly.
With that being said, subscribe to us on Patreon. We've got good things going and new things coming. I know that Survivor is premiering this week, but we're not covering Survivor this season. We're going to move on to something else.
Not this season.
Maybe we'll come back for season 50 because
that would make sense. Let's do that.
Yeah. Or season 25 because King George is Survivor Australia versus the world. So it's King George, Shawnee, Sari, Parvati, Tony, who's won twice. Listen. The world is not ready for King George.
Okay, no, they are not. Okay, Australia's bag of chips, like they are not ready for King George because that man is diabolical. And I told you, there's something real. Like, you know how I feel about redheaded white people. There is also even if it's a thin line of darkness through white people with dark hair and very light, icy blue eyes. Yes. There's something to that, you know. And so, King George, while he is entertaining as fuck, that nigga is dark, and I want to watch. I vote we watch more King George on Patreon, personally.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I love King George. He's a little evil somebody in the game. I don't know
in the
who
game.
he is in real life.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I assume.
Yeah.
I never care about their real life, except for that nigga who took those pumpkin spice pictures with his wife.
Cute. Yeah.
He worked my nerves.
But yeah, subscribe to us on Patreon. Subscribe to us on YouTube. It's freer than you and me. Follow us on the Discord. It's in the description box wherever you're listening. It's free to join. And click in the link tree wherever because that's where we advertise, where we got a whole bunch of shit going on.
Yeah.
And all that. That being said, let's take a break and we'll be back with more Jade and XD. Hit it, Claude.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
School bus drivers need to be mindful of many different driving scenarios. There are procedures for crossing railroad tracks, loading and unloading students, the pre-trip inspection, and much more. However, when driving a school bus on any given day,
And we're back. So how was your week?
Oh, it was cool. It was cool. I am, I told you I'm full-fledged in, mom mode, which is so fascinating. I stop sometimes and have out-of-body experiences and say, how the fuck did we get here? Because I just never saw this for myself. Like, when I'm doing laundry and I've just, packed the lunch and done the blah, 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 I'm like, who the fuck am I?
You're a PTA mom. Yeah.
No, dead ass. It's stupid. And so, I told you I'm going to join the actual PTA, but it's okay, well, we've got to schedule everything around school pickup and blah, 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 blah. And she's got this activity on this day. And I had to decline an invitation to one of my best friend's birthdays this weekend because I was like, can't travel that way. Noah's got a performance. It's that. That's where we are in life. And so it's real fascinating. I was like, am I going to get, because, the way that we have to pull to pick them up, you get gridlock. And so I was like, is there ever going to be a time where I get into it with one of these people and embarrass her? I'm going to try not to do that. Well, nigga. This bus driver, an old nigga, he looked like Sherman Hemsley. This bus driver decided that his bus was gonna magically turn into a 1994 Miata. You know what I'm saying? And so he was getting ready. He was trying to bombard and zoom through gridlock in a short yellow bus. I also was playing block that nigga with my car every chance I got because he kept trying, and I finally got us into the most uncomfortable position, the one where he is stuck directly beside me and can't go nowhere. And I rolled that window down and I said, what in the motherfuck is your problem? Did you wake up constipated? I was like, what is wrong with you? Do you need to go take a shit? There's gotta be a reason why you think you're driving a small ass fucking car and you're driving a fucking small bus. There's gotta be a reason why you think that you have the right to zoom and try to get in front of niggas and block niggas and almost hit niggas' car with a motherfucking bus. He sat there and looked at me like I had 75 heads. And I was like, see me again, nigga. You gonna see me again, nigga.
A local mother says after having issues with her children's school bus driver, she decided to hit record on her phone and confront her about what she was calling ongoing problems for about 3 weeks now. This video has been viewed millions of times on the social media.
So, it's been fun commuting every day, leaving the house with no bra on. And then I celebrated Crissle Jean's birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, Crissle.
Happy birthday!
Yes, our sister. We went to a comedy show. You know, just like it's fun to sometimes go to random comedy shows. So we did that, and there was a nigga in the front with a white girl. We kept trying to figure out if she was Asian. She wasn't. With a white girl, and he had on that hat. You know, that camouflage, not military but like that woodsy camouflage. Think dicks. Think, you know what I'm saying? It's like all the sticks and it's camouflage.
Yes. Like, the camouflage.
I'm like, nigga, pick up what I'm putting fucking down, nigga. Look at me. This is camouflage.
No, I'm looking at you and I'm trying to like, well, why would camouflage have sticks? But then I realized the Gen Z, Gen Alpha camouflage has like.
Wait, no, it's not new. It's the one. Hold on.
Is it like what they sell at Urban Outfitters now? Because I just bought a
Oh, maybe.
Again, remember I told you I bought that Harris Walls hat because it was cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it.
Camouflage. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
It's the one, not the military one, but the one that looks like
the new Timberland hats. Have you seen those?
Oh, I haven't. God, I'm so behind in everything.
We also have to have a conversation about Naomi Campbell. And that needs to be a ABC show because that is a family conversation.
Really? Because I'm so curious.
Well, we'll get to it when we talk about scandals today.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm looking for it, but I can't find it. But yes, it's the one with. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's this one that it's. I call it camouflage tie-dye. That one.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So he had on one of those hats, and he was laughing a little too hard at the black jokes by the white comedians. I was like, we have a self-hating black in the wild. I love going to comedy shows and seeing like who they pick on, and people's personalities based on what they laugh at. All of that. So we had a good low-key Monday birthday for Crissle Jean.
Good.
How was your week?
Good.
What you got into?
Oh boy. What didn't I get into? I forgot to mention this last week, and I feel bad because I was told them I was supposed to. Two things I was supposed to mention. One, over our break, I went to a private dinner experience called Fried Chicken and Funky Shit. Right. So it was hosted by Chef Wendy, who won Chopped 420.
Come on.
And Chef Jay, who's my friend. And it was literally fried chicken and weed.
Okay. Sounds like my type of time.
It was, but I mean, yes, there was sides. Like it was Korean fried chicken. It was regular fried chicken. Then they had this other chef. God, I feel bad for forgetting her name. This black woman from Nashville. She made authentic Nashville hot chicken. There was this beautiful like cornbread with whipped butter, like from I think it was homemade butter too, because I've never had butter like that. Like vegetables like lotus root and stuff to go with the Korean stuff. It was amazing, and then the weed was great.
Yes, it better be with all that delicious chicken there.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And I forgot to shout them out. Because
that's like shout out to y'all. I want to come. Holly went to shout out to Chef Holly. She you already know she queen.
Stand her.
Queen. But Holly was here and went to I saw on her Instagram she went to Stu Leonard's for the first time.
I watched that this morning.
I said, "Oh, sister, you went and experienced acid is what you did because Stu Leonard's is a fucking experience. So for those who have not been, and there might be, some Brooklyn natives who have not been to Stu Leonard's because it is at the tippy top of the Bronx, right at the border of the Bronx. And
there was a Stu Leonard's in New York City, and I never went.
So I don't think it's technically New York City. It's like
Because the only one
it's literally like when you in the Bronx, like you get on the Deegan and you go north, like you go in the White Plains, and you like literally like in like 6-7 minutes you're in White Plains, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, etc.
Yeah,
Stu Leonard's is like right at the border. So you like there's a new shopping area. It didn't used to be there, but there's a new shopping area that has like a Cheesecake Factory and like a Fogo de Chao or Texas de Brazil, one of those, and a bunch of stores and all of that to the right. And then when you bust to the left, that's always where Stu Leonard's has been. And so Stu Leonard's is think Disney World for dairy. For those who have not. Yeah, for beef and dairy. For middle America gold is what it is. And it's really a mind-blowing experience. I encourage you to find a friend with a car, get real fucked up, and then go in Stu Leonard's. You might cry and be scared, or you might really enjoy yourself. I'm not sure.
I am Stu Leonard, and customers ask me what I love most about Stu Leonard's. Let me show you.
Because Stu Leonard's does look like it's a small world, because it's a little dark on the inside.
Because as soon as you walk in, you're like, apple cider donuts.
Yeah, it's a lot of stimulation. I remember that's what I had. What did I have? Homemade mayonnaise. And they had like a tasting thing for mayonnaise, and I was like, oh, I'm on board.
Which is actually so easy to make, and you generally have all of the products to make mayonnaise if you just an FYI. But yeah, Stu Leonard's is an experience. When I lived in the Bronx, I would go to Stu Leonard's to like do my Thanksgiving shopping. It was perfect for that. Get all my butter, get all my milk and creams for whatever I'm gonna make, and you know they have good fresh veggies up there. So I will go get a bunch of stuff. Well, they did once upon a time. I haven't been in so long, but that's where I would go. And then also apple cider. When fall hit, I would that's
also where I've had my first apple cider donut. Now I think about it,
at Stu Leonard's
back in college, because I went to the one that's back when Eckerd was still in, but what they used to call it Eckerd. And they still had wall bounds.
Okay, so Eckerd's Kids was a Walgreens, Dwayne Reed CVS of the days of yesteryear. See also Rite Aid as it's on its way out.
Yeah,
I feel like Rite Aid has been having a going out of business sell for so long.
I need to sacrifice and get some Thrifty's ice cream. That's some amazing ice cream. But yes, Stu Leonard, I was jealous when I watched your video. I was like, I've not been in so long, and I would love to go back and stock my fridge.
I say that, and it might just be nostalgia, and I will get there and be like, why the fuck did I drive all the way up here for this? So, could be that too.
What else did I do? Oh, this is what I needed to talk to you about. My political chat is in the actual show this week, so we're gonna forgo that. But did I talk to you about how the earthquakes and stuff have been falling in like there's another city? I'll put that in scandal.
Wait.
But here's what happened to me this week. Yeah, California's falling apart. So I was in dire need of getting my eyebrows done.
Okay.
Like it was literally like, oof.
Okay.
Ferocious. And I needed a mani-pedi, something serious. I looked like
you was wolfing it.
I was giving 2020. Right?
A very specific time frame.
Yeah. So I ended up going to a whites only area in LA. Let's call it that.
Okay. Yes.
And so, and I'm looking around, because I'm like, I gotta go to the mall. I gotta do shit, right?
Right.
And I'm also not trying to like go to 11
hither and thither.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, let me go to this one central location where I get everything done, or ISK and this because I also had an eye appointment for contacts and blah 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 blah. So anywho, I'm looking for a nail salon. And I go to one that I find that's rated well, 4 stars, not 5, not 3, but 4. And so I was like, okay. So I walk in. They were like, Oh no. They were like, okay, I want a mani-pedi eyebrows done. I sit down, they ignore me for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay. And then there's like nobody in the chair, so I was like, fuck you all, I'm reporting you, and I leave. So then I go down the street, and this lady was like, oh, I would take you, but I'm about to close. It was 3:00 in the afternoon. So I'm like, what are you doing, lady? And mind
Racism.
these aren't white-owned salons. These are traditional nail salons. Let's go with that. So then I'm like, okay, let me go in the mall and see if I can find one. And I went into the mall, and I was like, mall nail salons and stuff, I don't know, whatever.
I know, it's like it's something about it is just a little weird to me.
Yeah, it's a little weird. So I ended up going because it was dire need, and I'm whatever. And I have never considered other countries specializing in like grooming. So I had, for the first time, a Russian manicure and pedicure.
Oh, you had yourself a Russian dry.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Artillery and shit.
Yeah, and buff and go to work on Myra's feet.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was the only thing that they could have did was like calluses, that scrubbing thing. They could do that better. But it was also one of them bougie ones that it was like a plate, not like a basin, but they literally put your feet in a plate. Plate.
Yeah.
And like the chair was like some pink like frilly thing, and it wasn't like massaging, it just had like a pillow.
Yeah.
It was like where you go for like bridal shower shits and stuff like that, or like
it's fine, like because the only massage chairs be in the traditional nail salons anyway. I started giving myself a fake Russian pedicure. Before I go get a real one. So, because I'm like, no, I want to go to work on my feet. And then by the time I get to you all and then you do the same, they're baby soft every time. So I bought this, hold on, I'll show you. I bought this buffer thing. It's this circular electrical buffer thing. And you put the little emery situation on here, and they're, obviously disposable. And so you do the sticker and turn it on. Oh, it's not plugged up, duh. But it spins, and then I buff my heels or like my calluses, and I'll use a couple of those disposable situations. And when I tell you by the end of that, and I do that dry, then I also bought myself a nail drill. So I got the nail drill and all the bits. And then, my nail girl, she gave me all the tips and stuff. Don't put it too high. You don't put it past blah, blah, blah. So I use the different bits, and I'm able to clean up my cuticles.
See, that's what I'm afraid of. I would love to do all this shit myself, but I'm not that well versed. Also, I can't fucking see. So, like, my eyesight is woo.
I mean, I do be playing a nasty game of Russian roulette with with my eyeballs, and things. But it's like if you put the ball thing in there, it's not going to tear your cuticles up. It's not like going to the nail shop and they end up nicking you by accident. Like, you get it, and it's very good about just cleaning. So I do that with my toes and get all around. Then, I scrape up underneath and get the shit up underneath. Oh, it's so satisfying.
But yeah, I was never, I didn't know. And I was like, well, okay. And then Mama with the eyebrows, I mean, clearly. She did what she needed to do.
Yes. So did you find you some new spots?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna go back to that particular nail salon. However, it is convenient if I'm in the mall and I need to get something done. I could
you can do it all in one spot.
Go right, and I'm not gonna be too mad. And it's low key cheaper than my actual, because my actual nail salon was booked, and I was like, girl. But anywho, like, I'm one of the people that walk in and they'd be like, oh, okay, Mr. XD, how are you? And I'm like,
no.
Yes.
I know that's like my Masaki. Let me tell you, Masaki, she be bringing me gifts back from Japan. You know what I'm saying? Cookies and like the best seaweed chips and little Japanese washcloths that fold into teddy bears and shit. It's fantastic. I love her so much.
Yeah, because there's two that are like the homegirls that I work on, and they're Vietnamese, and then the eyebrow lady is Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah,
Prima.
I go, I go with the people.
Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah.
It's a small world after all.
So anywho, today we're talking about scandals because there's a big scandal happening.
Oh, there's a big scandalo going on.
And I guess we have to talk about it.
Okay.
So, on a little show called Two Guys and a Girl, there were three hosts actually, Jay Williams, Jade of all Jades, and Xavier Delow, where they all three said that Puff Daddy is guilty
of everything.
And did that of everything.
Of everything. Whatever they said he did that shit.
And 10 years later,
let me tell you something.
Vindicated. You were right.
And I'll start off by saying this before we get into Jade and XT mode. I do feel for the victims, for every victim, because there's people, you have to remember, there are names that we know, but there are plenty of victims of names we don't know who were affected by him and his dark and evil behavior. So I feel for everybody who's had to relive whatever horrible experience they had with him through all of this. But for those of us who, have never been to the freak offs.
Let me tell you something.
1,000.
Normally I don't read through those criminal dockets, but something compelled me to, Megan with the Bob compelled me to, read it. And I was like,
yeah.
Freaky frog.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
dangerous,
yeah. Freaky ass nigga. You know how we talk about being dangerously horny on this show? That is a level of dangerously horny that I don't even think that we have discussed. Because what the fuck are you doing with 1,000 bottles of baby oil? They said 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube. So because I was initially very concerned by all of this baby oil, because I was like, well, what the fuck? I hope y'all are not using that as lube. Fucking up pHs
niggas use baby oil as lube.
That can't be good for anybody's insides.
No, when you're not gay, you can use those things.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Right, because if you go buy the Swiss Army knife, then you're gay.
Yeah.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
So if you use baby oil, then that could also be interchangeable for your quote unquote moisturizer, even though baby oil don't do motherfuck for ash.
Because you know what I thought about with this thing? I always think of health, right? Because yes, there are these allegations about like these freak offs, which these weekdays or days or week-long hedonism type events, right? Where people are maybe on drugs, some voluntary, some involuntary. And I can't imagine the level of sexual safety that was being practiced, because I can firmly assume that there wasn't any, right? Like, I'm sure that if there's 1,000 bottles of baby oil that was counted and confiscated, and I'm sure there was lube there as well.
Yeah, they said lube too.
I can't imagine like condoms being present, because baby oil breaks down condoms.
So that was my I was like, baby oil is like coconut oil in the sense where you're not supposed to use either one of those with condoms.
No, and it's not internal use, right? So
not only are we raw dogging galore,
you are breaking even more tissue, which makes you more susceptible to infections.
Oh Lord, Jesus!
This is why I tell straight people to get on PrEP. But hey,
and listen, the advertisements are diverse now. Because remember, the advertisements were initially, for my brothers who love brothers,
the homosexual quotient.
Yeah, but now they have cisgendered heterosexual couples and partners in these commercials for you all to know that it's for everybody, bitch.
Because on Drag Race, them commercials come up, it looked like a fucking Latuda commercial. Ain't no gay present. I can ride a bike again with Discovery. Like, what?
Where they literally had every preventable medication on the goddamn market that would play during Drag Race. There's no fucking excuse. And condoms, they've been giving condoms away for free since the Roman Empire. So there's no fucking reason for you niggas to be out here. Although I will get to that also in our Escandalo conversation. But yeah, niggas been nasty for a long time, and this nigga is real fucking nasty.
That's nasty.
But the baby oil concerned me so much. Like, it just concerned me. 1,000 bottles of baby. On top of that, a good freak off or not all of this was consensual, and not even just because of force, but also think about how many people were drugged because if you have 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube, let us not forget, this is not the bottles that have been thrown out. This is not the cases upon cases of lube and baby oil that have already been used and thrown out. This is what was present at the time. And this nigga's been famous a long fucking time. What kind of druggage do you have to be given and or taking in order to take all of that? Okay.
That pink cocaine that
they found in his bed.
Yeah, like I wonder how close his kids are to that stuff. I hope the younger ones are. I hope they're not involved at all. But I definitely hope the young girls are far away and far removed from any of this type of stuff.
I hope so, but
however, I feel like one of them, and you know which one, is going to be the one to be in defense of his father. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. The protege, the twin. Where have you been? Yeah. First of all them kids got their passports taken, including them little girls.
The day that they got raided here in LA was the day I went backstage in AEW.
I remember.
And that's when I ran into Quincy, and he looked so dejected and just sad.
How can you be out after
broken?
that? Well, you see why.
It's probably no shade. AEW. I mean, no, who's trying to? TMZ is not going to try to go to AEW backstage and get his reaction. You know what I mean?
No, that's fair. He was like,
not a wrestling thing, And
I can imagine you don't want to be in the crib, just chilling after that has happened. I don't even know if you can be in the crib after that has happened. There may be no crib. But yeah, this nigga is an awful nigga, and we knew that. And we know that there are also more levels to this shit, alleged levels that, are not documented, but that he has been a part of and or orchestrated. Okay. Yeah. I.e. murders, allegedly.
Well, yeah. Well, that's why arson is on the docket. Because remember the Kid Cudi thing, right? Where
I thought the arson was on there because of the burning documents.
In other complaints, there was, allusions to what Cassie said in her deposition. But either way, I hope justice is served.
Yeah.
People are like conflating, like, well, are y'all gonna stop listening to Puffy's music and stuff? Like, I'm like, listen, R. Kelly, we know that was about little girls, right? Puffy was more of a producer artist kind of thing, so it's very difficult to, you know what I mean? It's kind of, I'm not going to go listen to.
We had that conversation on Getting Grown. We had that conversation because Kia and I were talking about just the cultural implications, like outside of this nigga's personal terrible proclivities, the personal implications for us culturally, or like the cultural implications for us. It's tough because that's such a, especially for us in this particular age bracket, it's such a huge chunk of time of our youth and going into our adulthood that we have, you know, a lot of these are soundtracks for different portions of our lives. And so it's hard, right? Because then you hear something and you might say, all right, because I said the same thing that you said. I said my thing with R. Kelly was his music was directly tied to his crimes. With Puffy, I think it's more so of a conscious matter, and if you hear it, it may very well not sit well in your spirit. Like, you may say, okay, well, this was not about, you know, all of these different things, but it still may not sit well in your spirit. And I think that's something that only each individual can tussle with, you know, in their listening pleasures or not. Am I gonna not listen to every artist who was affiliated and associated with him? No. But I also, like, I don't know. I haven't gone to listen to any Puffy music, you know, since all of this has happened, because
he's also not in my, like,
well, I used to listen. I last night, Keisha Cole's Last Night.
Oh my gosh, we were just talking
I have told you before. Go ahead. Yeah, like, I can't. I used to play. That song has been since it came out, has been in my rotation, but I haven't listened to it since all of this.
Yeah. It's easy for me, you know, sometimes, like, for his personal music, I don't have to consume anything. And I know we've been talking about, like, making the band and all this good stuff, but it's easy for me to just be like, well, you fucked that shit up, so I can move on. There's other things in the world that I could enjoy, that, or maybe that I have missed out on.
There's also that,
you know, that I can go pick up and enjoy, that isn't harmful to people, you know?
Yeah.
So peace to the victims, peace to his kids, and may he burn.
Yeah, I mean, listen, may you have the eternity that you deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a break, and we'll be back with more Escandalo. Hit it, Claude.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Suggestion: the rotation of Earth's inner core may have paused, and it could even go into reverse. This sounds really bad to me.
Let's just
get to Davo and get to it.
Let's just get on Mars and be done with this, right? No. Okay.
And we're back. Today we're talking about scandals. Escandalo. Famous scandals. Some funny, some we may remember, some we may not, and some we may not, know of, and will become to light. So, would you like to begin, darling?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, sure. So I don't know if you heard this story. It was nuts, right? So this man was king of his nation, and he was a wonderful king. Like, the people loved him so much. The nation was thriving. Small businesses were doing great. Everything was in rotation the way that it should have been. Life was happening as it should have been. And, so then he and his queen had a child, and the child was also lovely. Sometimes you would think that it goes dark, but the child was also lovely. Amazing kid, beautiful spirit. And he prepped him, for him one day taking over this nation, and was like, make sure you keep the people's interests first. Make sure you are, you're looking after them. You keep your heart in the right place. Keep your heart 3 stacks. And the kid was like, absolutely, and had beautiful footsteps to follow him. But this king had a brother. He had a gay brother, and he was evil. He was an evil, nasty, vile person. And so the brother conspired one day with 3 Azalea Bankses and said, I'm gonna kill my brother. And, did so. And then emotionally damaged the child, sent him into exile, where he went on a drug binge and he went to Woodstock, did all kinds of things. He drove a Volkswagen for some time, until one day he was like, oh no, enough is enough, because my father did not raise me up for his land to look like this. And so he returned, and all was restored. But it was a great scandal when this gay villain killed his brother. And, the right wing took that and ran with it because he was gay. So then they, demonized all of homosexuality because of that.
Scar! Brother, help me!
Long live the king.
It's history. That's history.
Oh my gosh.
What you got?
I see what we're doing now. Okay, because I legit had
not the whole time. Just wanted wanted to hit with a bang.
Okay.
It was between that or the lady who deceived her father into thinking she was his son, but that yeah.
Oh. Well, I didn't realize you were going to tell it in that manner. That's why I'm like, oh, that's okay. I just have a list of scandals.
Yeah, say
it. Okay. The first one that comes to mind, one that I just learned of.
Okay.
So I've been watching Chasing Orlando.
Oh my God, there's another city?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to be a better homosexual.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to give the dolls a chance. What's a click to a goon? You know what I mean? So I've been watching regularly, and it's actually not been bad. It's just a lot of fighting, a lot of fists and cereal dust. So the last episode was the Pulse anniversary. Remember Club Pulse?
Oh, yes. Oh.
One of the largest mass shootings, hate crimes in the history of our country. And apparently there was an organization to assist victims, families and stuff financially and things. There was a lot of promises saying that they were going to tear the club down, right? Because why would you still operate that club? Because of all that horrific things that have happened there. None of those things happened. They pocketed the money, and this club is still open.
What?
So at the end of the last week's episode of Chasing Atlanta, Cali Boy, and I know people like, oh, messy queens or whatever, but this one I firmly believed, because he was explaining like his best friend was the one that was killed in the club, and he was like, "This is not about my money. Why would I get money from them? This is about his family who's struggling." And I didn't know that this club is white owned. That initially started out as a hetero club, and then like the gays kind of just like took over and like at night like we typically do because they don't ever want to give loans and stuff to gay people.
Right.
And so they just have no intention. So that the scandal is, it's like they done pocketed millions of dollars and have not aided any victim from these attacks. And I was just like, that's scandal and that's messy and people are evil. And this goes back to
people are evil.
My thought about just straight men or cis het men. I remember after Pulse, I got like ridiculed where I was like, heterosexual men are dangerous. Well, I said straight people are dangerous.
Well, you got ridiculed where and where?
Oh, on the internet, on Twitter. But this is like a decade ago.
Okay.
Because I was like, as all the things in the history of the world, bad and awful, has been behind the evil nigga, right?
Hold on. Sorry, not to cut you off. What did Margaret Atwood, Handmaid's Tale, author of Handmaid's Tale, she had a quote where she said, I'm paraphrasing this, and I believe it was her, where she said, if men are afraid of women laughing at them, women are afraid of men killing them. But continue.
That's heavy. But yeah, that was the first scandal. I was like, oh no, wait a minute now, damn it. Not me learning something from and we went because I was like, I don't know, gays be just talking out their ass, but we did our Googles and I see how this woman was like, oh, we built this club for our brother because he was gay, but you made it a straight club, which is a lie. And so then you're like using all this insurance money and blah 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 blah.
So it's still operating.
Believe so, yes, but it has not been torn down.
Which is so like imagine being a victim in the sense of losing loved ones, or even being a victim who was present that night for such a atrocious act, and you got to drive by that shit every day. And
like, no shade, I'm not trying to like get my life at a club where dozens of people were slaughtered.
Hell
like,
no.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to like.
I don't want to go back energetically. It's got to be nuts. And the ways in which no,
absolutely not.
No,
like it was wild. So like in the episode, like Cali Boy runs a nonprofit, and they had like this memorial thing, and they had to do it in the parking lot. I'm thinking they going in the club because it's still open, and they doing like a thing, right? No, they do it in the parking lot, like, and it's like a whole like installation while this building
structure is still there.
And I'm like, that's so wild because usually in murder cases or things like that, they demolish or tear down the buildings. Like John Bonet,
they tore her parents' house down.
Yeah, it's different because Chris had went there and had saw it and was like, oh yeah, it's different.
Okay.
Lacey Peterson, a couple of other people, like, oh god, they tore it down or whatever, you know, because nobody's trying to live in that.
That's why I don't understand people who go visiting Alcatraz and shit.
Oh yeah, we had to do that for in high school, not middle school or high school, one of those. It's a California trip that you have to take.
See, that's like when they take those kids down south to the fucking plantations. Like, what are you doing? This was a slave quarters. And, like, traumatizing. Why would you do that to people? I don't like that. Well,
it's here to go.
So, you know how, we're learning new things about people every day. And often, and we've said it ourselves, we're like, oh, I wish the internet didn't exist, or we didn't have so much access to people's personal proclivities so we can enjoy things at our own pace. But scandals have been going on they are a tale as old as time, especially in good old Hollywood. So I'm going to read you a story. All right. Jack Pickford was the brother of Mary Pickford, arguably the most powerful woman in Hollywood in 1916. Pickford was a notorious man about town, with the result of being stricken with syphilis, then treated with highly toxic mercury. Olive Thomas was a former Ziegfeld girl, called the most beautiful woman in the world. If so, existing photographers don't do her justice. Oh, that's what the article says, not me. And soon Pickford's bride, though their marriage was what today will be called a long-distance relationship. According to acquaintances, when together they fought constantly and with equal exuberance. Whether Olive was aware of Jack's medical problem is debated, though he had his mercury with him when the couple spent time together in Paris in the summer of 1920. On September 9th, Jack called a doctor to their hotel room after learning that Olive had taken a liberal dose of his bichloride of mercury. She died that night in considerable pain as a result. The ensuing scandal was multi-pronged. Some said that Jack deliberately placed his medicine where his wife would confuse it with nostrums of her own and thus take it accidentally. Others claimed Olive committed suicide after learning of the reason her husband carried the mercury with him on his travels. The existence of a large insurance policy on her life, with Jack the beneficiary, gave credence to the former belief. Still others, cognizant of the fact that Mary Pickford despised her sister-in-law, believed Mary arranged for Olive to ingest the mercury through means not fully explained. The French authorities decided the poisoning was accidental, but their finding did little to stop wagging tongues in Hollywood and Paris over the untimely death. Her funeral was studded with Hollywood celebrities, and her ghost is said by some to haunt the New Amsterdam Theater in New York, where she had first gained attention as one of Flo Ziegfeld's girls.
Oh, wow.
So this nigga had syphilis, like a nasty, nasty, nasty case.
And he thought, I'm assuming this mercury was a colloidal silver? I'm thinking, right? Like mercury? Like that's so weird to just carry around mercury.
Well, it was also 1916, so think about all of the cocaine that was being used for right. But like, I don't now that.
Like I'm just trying to this nigga had syphilis, and okay.
Okay, let's see. All right, it's not the same, but colloidal silver, a liquid that contains tiny silver particles suspended in it. It's made from the same type of silver used in jewelry and silverware. Mercury, also known as quicksilver, liquid silver, metallic mercury, and... Oh, so are they the same? I don't know.
Huh. Scientists, comment.
Yeah, apparently some of y'all listen to the show. Nuts.
Yeah. Also, I know I gotta reach out to that van life person. I will, promise. Sorry,
yes, we're gonna talk about van life on the Patreon.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, she was set up. I don't believe she took it as no. you know what your medicine is, girl.
Yeah. That lady did not, unalive herself because she learned that her husband had a dirty dick. They killed that lady.
Yeah, early.
But his sister was who's the most famous person in Hollywood, right? Who would be considered? Just imagine Zendaya's brother had a nasty bout of syphilis. It's terrible. I'm just using you as an example, girl. What you got?
I have one that's if it is one of those if you know you know. Mm-hmm. So there was in the early aughts of Twitter, or Black Twitter was formed when Michael Jackson passed away, right? And so over time,
it was. It was.
Yeah, so over time, people found community. They started meeting people and having meetups and learning about who people are and their personal lives behind the keyboard and stuff. And a lot of times people found shit out that they didn't like, or secret lives. or secret children. So there was one time, there was this one gentleman who was awful to women on the internet. Just awful, just a hellion, just a douche monkey of an individual, right? You know, and then the world found out that he was hiding a child.
Oh,
you know, and you know, and had a whole different life. And this individual, with all things swirling around him, continued to tweet like it was nothing.
It's true.
Like there was nothing going on. Just, you know, sun is out and I'm feeling okay. Hope you have a really good day. Meanwhile, you are hiding a child.
He was an audacious Brooklyn nigga.
Yes. So, you know, the legend of Mojiziel lives on.
And for those young people who were not present on Twitter during those times, there was a phrase that was used often when somebody would be the target of the daily or like, you know, somebody said something stupid and everybody got wind of it or whatever. You all know how the internet works. But whoever that slaughter of the day was, if they were to ignore the situation and still be present, because remember, the normal behavior was for people to just disappear offline when something scandalous would happen. But when people would not disappear offline when scandalous things would happen, after that, we would say, oh, they Mojiziel the conversation or the situation. And so, yeah, the legend, he's a legend for that, honestly. I feel so terrible for his wife.
Yeah.
But that was monumental, honestly. The way that nigga was tweeting about soccer and basketball games and pretended like nothing was happening.
Yeah.
It's honestly something to aspire to.
It really was awe-inspiring. The level of delusion and just like blinders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally, I like.
Where is he now?
I don't know.
Somewhere in Brooklyn. Because he was
more than him. I don't know.
Oh, no. How old is that baby? That baby got to be like older than Noah. That baby got to be like 13, 15 years old.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely
crazy. Where is Mojiziel? Wait.
Twitter.fandom.com. That should be a thing. No, that'd be shady.
Wait, is he? Oh no, this is a white man named Jizzle Mo on Facebook. Never mind.
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't talk about your political scandal, your current political
that's
news.
Next on my docket.
Oh, well, go on to that because that's important. Let's go to that. I just got a bunch of shit on here.
Oh, okay. Scandal. There's two scandals that I have. So I'll just tell you them in succession.
Okay.
And then we'll go to break.
Yes.
Have you heard about the Mayor of Naples, Florida?
No, I didn't even know there was a Naples.
Yeah, so Naples, Florida is, you know, the Beverly Hills of Central Florida. Like, it's where the upper echelon MAGA whites live and things.
Okay, so they got a lot of TGI Fridays and stuff.
Macaroni Grill. You know, they're
yes,
upper echelon.
What's the other one? What's the one that they like?
Maggiano.
Kawrabas.
Family style.
Yes. I had to go there in Ohio. I was like, what's safe on here? Tuscan chicken with spinach and cheese and sun-dried tomatoes. Okay, continue.
So the end of August, so apparently there's this guy driving home and there was he ends up like getting followed by this lady and this lady ends up like hitting his mailbox and running it over. So he's like, first of all, bitch, what the fuck? Who are you following? Why are you following me? And B, you hit my fucking mailbox. And it turns out it's the mayor of Naples, Florida.
Huh.
Naples City Mayor Teresa Heitman spent the night in jail after getting arrested on this street on DUI charges. I'm Fox 4's Naples community correspondent Mahmoud Bennett, and the man living at this house behind me says Mayor Heitman followed his son several blocks into their driveway before they called police.
And she is drunk off of her ass. And so she's like the guy like had a recording of her, and she was like, when he called 911, and in the 911 call, you hear her be like, I am Mayor Teresa such and such, and you will address me as such. And when the cops came,
oh, she sound like the Illinois bitch.
But when the cops came, she said, I'm not mayor right now. I'm just Teresa. I'm just a regular citizen.
Wait.
So then the messy part came was that like I guess one of the city like supervisors whatever was like, oh no, we're committed to basically stepping up, like, oh, I'm the nigga in charge now, like she needs time to recover and all that good stuff. And he looked like he was itching to take her job.
Oh.
So yeah, and so she released a statement on last week or 2 weeks ago where she was like, you know, I'm hoping we can move on from this. You know, I'm working hard, you know, to regain the trust in my community.
Oh, she looks like she's a problem.
Oh, she looks. If I told you white woman from Florida that has a little bit of money, you know exactly what I'm
this is
talking
exactly what she Karen, like the epitome of a Karen. She looks like she definitely is part of a church scandal documentary. Yeah, definitely a white woman from Florida with this dog that looks like her.
Yeah, mama got hit with a DUI. So that's, you know.
She was probably drunk off of wine.
Probably,
and pills.
But reason why she was following him because the guy accidentally cut her off, and so she has road rage issues, and so she was following him.
Yeah, she was drunk.
Yeah,
that's not funny.
Oh, this motherfucker.
Ooh, she sound like me with the nigga in the bus.
And then my other story is we're back to California problems. And I feel like I mentioned this last week briefly, but there's been new developments. So I told you every week it seems like there has been an earthquake.
Yeah, I'm hearing.
There was one the other day. And so I didn't feel it. However, there was one. And so there has been a lot of like earthquake preparedness, but also there's been a lot of earth shifting. So there is 2 neighborhoods here. There's just one, but now there's 2, and there's probably more to come. These hillside neighborhoods. So the issue is that the earth is shifting.
Some people in Rancho Palos Verdes, a city south of Los Angeles, have been told they may need to evacuate due to a landslide crisis. And what that means is there's a town outside of a major American city where the power had to be shut off to more than 200 homes over the weekend. Because,
and to the point where it is rapid movement, like feet by a day or feet by a month, right? So it's ridiculous. So like there have been homes like landslid down like mountains and stuff. There, like if you look at the roads buckling, like just natural speed bumps has been really bad. And so the electric and gas company aren't able to provide safe engineering and resources to those homes and those communities. So because of the rapid earth shifting, so they will not be able to have power or sewage or gas. So you have in Palos Verdes, you have about like 40, 50, I think maybe it's like 100 homes maybe that are going to have to be abandoned. And then fast forward, there's another town like Rolling Hills who's experiencing the same thing in another 50 to 75 homes. being without power, going to have to move because, the city's like, we can't fix this. Like, we can't fight Mother Nature. Like
those are considered act of God on your policies and stuff.
Yeah, and like in the, the residents are like, is there something like engineering scientifically you can do? And the engineers are like,
no, bitch.
Yes, however, like we can't fight. Like
no,
it's just not happening.
I hope this will make niggas start buying recycled phones and recycling their plastic and being more intentional about how we show up.
Yeah,
but it's these plants in these factories too, though, that have just oof.
Yeah, so like people were like at first like, oh, I don't give a fuck, these are rich people and stuff. However, some of these people in the communities, they just happen to live in the hills and they're not rich at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the land became more valuable as time went up, as rich white people moved out to get out of the city, to get away from brown and black people. That's what happened. That's why you have hills on the motherfucking side of a mountain like a fucking billy goat.
Which is right. The house is like this.
Like this. Like a fucking mountain goat, and they get mad. And it's like, my house is falling off. Like, well,
that's crazy. And you're never going to make that money back. So if they have to up and move, they just literally have to abandon
lost
shop.
Like millions of dollars. Like, and the sad thing is, like, a lot of people's wealth and financial portfolios are tied to what they own. And so you have these homes that are going, like, you can't sell them because who else is going to live in them? And the land has become unlivable. And so, like, the city's like, do something, or like the government's like, or the people of the towns are like, do something, and the government's like, state of emergency, and it's like, well, you're gonna have to buy them out. You're gonna have to,
and they're not gonna do that.
Because that's at least a couple $2 billion.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. They don't want to spend money on people. What? Now, granted, they do always look out for rich people more than they'll look out for anybody else. So I'm sure there will be something for them. But ultimately, like, they could very well throw their hands up and say, acts of God, like, we can't do shit about this, and you're SOL.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, let's take a break.
Yes.
And we'll be back with more Jade and XD. Hit it, Claude.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Rapper Young Buck is back in custody tonight on a warrant out of Georgia. The Cheatham County Sheriff tells us that David Darnell Brown is currently being held without bond. Now, you may remember he surrendered to police back in 2017 after months after being released from jail on domestic assault.
And we're back. More Escandalo here with Jade and XD. What do you have?
Oh, this is from, well, it's from the 80s. Okay, scandal from the 80s. But it's interesting when you hear the details of it, because some things will start to sound familiar, and you'll see that this shit is not new. And they've been this way since they've been this way. So, the Reagan administration, very popular for crack. And
white, brown.
Trying to ruin the Black American modern community. With
slavery, if you will.
Exactly. So, there was a scandal that involved a secret arrangement to sell weapons to Iran. All right. Via Israel. All right. So niggas love to get their hands involved or be a part when it works out for them via Israel. So they had this, and this was a secret at the time, to help fund the Contras, who were the rebels fighting Nicaragua's socialist Sandinista government. So to do so was illegal for several reasons. It violated Congress's limits on funding the group. the restrictions on selling arms to Iran, and the federal government's general strategy of not paying ransom for hostages, as the deal was set up in exchange for American hostages who've been kidnapped by Hezbollah, according to, now granted, you got to take some of this with a grain of salt, but in Lebanon in the early 80s. Okay, so when the scandal came to light, Oliver North, a National Security Council staffer, was indicted for fraud and obstruction of justice and convicted of falsifying a timeline of events to Congress, shredding government documents when the news of the scheme came to light, and illegally accepting a gift, which was a judge dropping the charges in 91.
Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North is being called a renegade cowboy who broke the law by his critics. But to American conservatives, he's a leader who saved Grenada and El Salvador from communism and who was working to do the same thing in Nicaragua and possibly even Iran.
We love repeating shit, don't we?
Don't we? Don't we? Don't we? And it's always us. Always got our hands in something nasty. Always. What you got?
I feel like I should put on my WGN News investigative reporting hat on, because I have two, but I'm saving this one for last.
Okay.
This other one for last. I'll have a couple. So this the world changed. I often talk about, when I get real quiet and get real settled, the slap from the Oscars just pops up in my brain, and I'm like, that was fucking crazy.
It's the way this slap has affected your spirit.
Yeah, it literally has changed me as a human being. Like, you know what I mean? 9/11, COVID, the slap, all have been a part of
your personal history shifts.
They've changed my world around. Remember there was a show, kids, called The Red Table, right?
Oh my God.
And Jada Pinkett Smith had a Facebook show, and that's where she would have this proverbial table, and that was red, and she would have two family members that she had taken hostage to be there with her. To just say,
yeah, she did. She would accost them and say things like, "Gammy, because remember when you used to do crack?" And then Gammy would be like, "Nah, hi." Like,
how'd I get it,
bitch? I'm thriving right now.
Like I have a Buick Rendezvous and everything.
What? Okay, sliving.
Okay, I am sliving, bitch. Fuck you.
And a hair appointment every Friday, bitch. How dare you?
Okay. And I got a man. But anywho.
Okay.
But anywho,
oh God.
She had guests on where they would come and they would, testify and atone and become accountable for themselves at this thing, right? She even had her husband on and things. And then there was one day where there was a news broke out where that she was involved in a extramarital affair with a heteroflexible individual by the name of August Alsina.
Oh my God.
And so
did you say heteroflexible?
I did. And so, the entanglement saga was
well, that was
because this was very much of a Kamala. Well, let's start. How did we get to the slap? Like, let's talk about how we got here. And it started with this entanglement. You know what I mean? Like this idea where Jada was like, "I'm going to bring myself to the kitchen table." And so she got on Mark Zuckerberg's internet and was like, hey, I was getting freaky deaky with this other nigga that's not my husband, who I don't like. and I will try to publicly embarrass him at any chance I get. But I love him for y'all. And so rage, cuck rage, if you will, and we escalated to the slap.
Yeah, the slap was a direct effect of that particular episode of the Kitchen Table Talk. I mean, the Red Table Talk.
I guess about 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Started a friendship with August.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually became really, really good friends.
Or whatever the fuck table. It was a direct result of said show.
It was.
Show did more harm than good.
Horrible show. It was up there with what was a bad show? There are no bad shows, just bad people who produce them.
Was Mother Love a bad, I enjoyed Mother Love, but I'm like, is that nostalgia? I don't know if that was actually a good show. Family Matters, terrible show.
Yeah, but not enough for me to lead a charge to get it canceled. You know what I
mean?
Oh,
fair. No. Okay, let me think. A show bad enough to lead a charge to get it canceled.
Oh, well, it's not on anymore, but when before Jimmy Kimmel rebranded himself, and we had the Man Show with him and Adam Carolla.
Okay.
That was
The Man Show is a terrible, from the title.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they had Dr. Drew on there sometimes, and we all know he's an awful human being. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anywho, what you got?
I thought, I wanted to come from a historical vantage point today, because I find, we've got to Sankofa, you know what I'm saying? We got to go backwards to move forward. And with our latest scandals happening in the news today that we discussed earlier, I said, I know they've been getting scandalous since forever. And so I thought I'd go back to the Roman Empire. The OGs of Escandalo behavior, which some of it wasn't scandalous as it was just homosexual. And then, the world puts homosexual. It depends on what y'all are doing. When y'all do that chair business with the hole, that's nuts.
Scandal.
No, you're not gonna get me caught up.
Listen, Rick Ross called it. He said credit card scams. That is for the faggots, and I was like, "Ooh, you ain't never lied, king." Anywho,
God.
That was internal.
Yeah, here's your intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
So Canduales, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, was a degenerate king of the ancient kingdom of Lydia, which is now present-day Western Turkey. Okay. He once asked his bodyguard, all right, his bodyguard's name was Gigas, or Gigas. Let's call him Jules. So
GG's.
No, we'll call him Jules, for all intents and purposes. So that's that nigga's name. Julius. Julius is his name, right? Julius, that's the bodyguard's name? Okay, all right. So we're going to call this nigga Julius. So the king, Canduelis, asked his bodyguard, Julius, let's call the king Sean. All right. So he asked the bodyguard, Julius, if he wanted to see the king's wife naked. Initially, Julius refused, but the king convinced Julius to hide in the queen's chamber and secretly observe her undressing. Creepy. Unfortunately, the queen spotted Julius, and upon learning of her husband's breach of trust, she confronted the embarrassed bodyguard with a choice: either kill my nigga and marry me, or faced public accusation of spying, which was a crime punishable by immediate execution. Later that night, when the queen summoned her husband to bed, Sean came. He, got ready to get cozy. And then Julius was prepared and fatally stabbed Sean to his death. So when I read that story, you know, I thought about all of your Twitter comments over the years and all of your irrational calls for this lady to fuck her bodyguard and leave her camel-like husband that you all hate with vitriol. And I read that story and I said, oh, this is going on my list.
You're not the first. Hopefully after tonight, you will be the last.
I mean,
and that was the day Julius killed Sean.
Niggas only hate Wig because he was bad to Beyonce. Like,
no, that's I know, but then they also really are running with this narrative for so long at this point about her having a secret love affair with Julius for 27 million years.
We all know it's with a basketball player whose son is now on his team.
You know, I really would hope. I hope not.
Oh, no. I'm kidding. No, Savannah would spawn a nuke. I'm kidding.
Yeah, she would.
She's a...
Personally, I'm going to start a rumor. Nobody's ever said this, so... What if she hit y'all with the okie doke and the nigga she's really been having the affair with all this time is Kendrick Lamar? Oh, fuck the heads up.
He does have a song dedicated. He has several songs dedicated to her.
You know. That's all I'm saying. I'm starting rumors. I'm just playing. Let me not do that. I actually enjoy Beyonce and I enjoy Kendrick Lamar. So now I would really love her to fuck everybody's heads up and like it would be Memphis Bleak or something. But
not a bad choice, queen.
You get your physical needs taken care of.
Yeah, the rock version of Tony Yayo.
Oh my God, it is.
So they want to ride with it. We can get a load.
Holla in the Chevy 4-door, blow, Dro, wanna ride with me. Where is Young Dro? Not Young Dro. Where is Young Buck?
I don't know.
Let's see.
But what? And then like what killed me was Melinda Williams just like dancing like just like why are you dancing so hard like Sita?
It was very aggressive. I think I want to end that. I think that I want that day of yesteryear Roman Empire scandal to be my last of the day. I feel like this could be a part 2 because there's been scandals. Okay. One day I'll tell y'all about a 27-year affair in Hollywood.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, I have one last one.
I'd love to hear it.
And you might have to put on your tinfoil hat for this.
I keep it in my purse.
Yeah. So I've been thinking about this for the last year or so.
Okay.
And it actually came across because I know they're about to address it in a special soon. So remember during lockdown or whatever, not even lockdown because we weren't living lockdown anymore. But remember when Jamie Foxx was sick? And had whatever.
I think he had a. I think he had a stroke. Is what they. What was the final. Which, by the way, I just finished the Jamie Foxx show. So interesting.
So my initial thought was, what if it's Scientology?
Wait, was he affiliated?
Because remember, he was with Katie Holmes.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yes. And she's been.
Remember.
Yes.
She escaped Witch Mountain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
by the help of him.
I wonder if Katie Holmes is friends with Nicole Kidman. I wonder if they like secretly have a very close sister-like relationship where they dwell on, the dark days.
Like in Handmaid's Tale, where they had that group in the library for survivors of Gilead.
Exactly. And so I wonder if they're like secretly very tight, because Nicole Kidman was put on the outs by her children, whereas it's usually the other way around. That. But continue with your. I'm here with you.
No, that's what it was. I'm just what we know for sure, right, is that they retaliate in all forms and facets. And so I can I'm just going on a limb here and like maybe it was them who had something to do with it.
Oh, I wouldn't. Oh, I would not
Especially
put
because it
anything
also
past
happened
them.
around the same time as like Danny Masterson stuff,
I don't put nothing past them.
That's when they were working really hard to exonerate Danny Masterson.
Did he get convicted? Oh, good.
I
Terrible.
hope he rots in moldy cum.
Oh, he needs to rot in multiple hells. The worst of the worst of the worst. Wait. So I found Young Buck's Instagram. It's called Buckshots with a Z. And there was a picture of him in front of a courthouse with a white woman. So then my first thought was, oh, Lord, did he become one of those Trump niggas? But no. You ready? I'm forced to go to trial. God gets the first and last word. Prayer hands. Thanks for all the support. This case has been going on for years now. Have had an ankle monitor on since October 2020. As a victim and fully innocent man... emoji. Hey, at Freddie for Nashville, can you please look into this matter in hashtag Sumner County? Repost from Miss Brooke Harlan now. Miss Brooke Harlan writes, yesterday I supported my dear friend Buckshots, aka Young Buck, at his court appearance as he continues to fight the uphill battle of being maliciously prosecuted and forced to be another victim of the system in his unjustified legal proceedings. I was like, well, what happened?
What did he do?
For those who have been following his case are aware that several years ago he was shot at by an ex-girlfriend, and he was later charged for the gun that the ex-girlfriend used to shoot at him. Despite the gun being in her name, and she admittedly retrieved the gun out of her safe and fired shots at him. Her charges were dismissed, and he was charged with a felon being in possession of her weapon. This situation is one of the most ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. That... Okay, I didn't know I was going to stumble on a scandal. So, according to this white woman's post, grain of salt, Young Buck's ex-girlfriend tried to shoot him, and he's being charged with possession of a weapon.
What state is this?
Tennessee.
Oh, there you go.
Right. All right.
Well,
prayers for Young Buck. That's crazy.
That concludes today's show. Yeah. Tell a friend, and we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Yes, we're moving on.